Hello, it's Benny here. Today, as part of the educational video, I just want to highlight, using a very simple method to understand the direction of a movement. And this is not new, it's something that I mentioned, which is the use of the quarterly box. Alright, so how do you get this quarterly box into your chart? Right, it's actually very simple. So what you have to do is just to drag in one more auto box. Okay, you can see in my indicators here there are 3 quarter boxes here indicator, so you can just drag it in and then to stack the auto box. Okay, then in this new auto box that you drag in, alright, set it to show in the week, which is the visualization in the week, and then the input set it to a quarter. Then you can define the colors and the borders of the box. Okay, so that's up to you on how you want to define that. All right. Now to show that it is having this border, all right. So you just have to choose a few box as no, and then the show border as yes. Okay. Now, so once you have this, right, then this is a quarter box here. All right. I have Pound Aussie. In fact, that today I want to point out that on the weekly chart of Pound Aussie and the importance of looking at the higher time frame. Okay, while TOR is a system, while people ask me about the accuracy or the reward to risk, all right, many times how much you make really depends on what you choose. Okay, so it is not a expert advisor where we just run it into one pair, all right, but it's it's a way for us to pick out which are the more likely trades that's going to happen. Okay, so based on this, I'm taking an interest in Pound versus Aussie and Pound versus Kiwi. Okay, now few things why. If you take a look at the weekly chart on the using the line chart, we can see a very clear reversal pattern. Okay, what is clear reversal pattern, right? So this is very much very standard. Standard means that is a class book example. Okay, so we have this point here, which is a lower low. Okay, so this one is a lower low. All right, and this point here is actually a lower high. Okay, so lower high and a lower low, and that's the start of a reversal pattern. Okay, reversal means that previously was up, okay, and it's heading down, potentially to move in a bearish bearish manner. All right, now then of course that with TOR in the weekly chart, it gave us some buy sell, and you know that we don't really just use this arrow to trade. Okay, what we do is that we use these arrows as a confirmation that in the week, a wash and means has happened, or a day wash and means has happened. Okay, so now we know that predominantly it's the bearish movement here. All right, but price probably it's right now into a support, okay, and might be breaking below. We don't know because that for support resistance it could be a zone. Okay, so people can see these as like a support here, and then they can see these as like a resistance. That means it breaks a support and it becomes a resistance. Okay, so that's one side. Now the next one, which I find more precise and mathematical without any argument whether it is supported or not, it's just to use purely time, which is to look at time here and say, hey, look, this is in no doubt, okay, because time is constant, whether you are in here or versus you are in Europe, for example. All right, time move in a constant speed, and time is the one that's constant and is fair to everybody. All right, so if you take a look at this bar here, all right, everybody who is using any form of any methods, right, whether they are using indicators or they are using method A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all right, will have to agree that this is the first bar of the quarter. Okay, so that's it. All right, first bar of the quarter, and that's fixed, right? So right now we are towards the second week of the first bar of a quarter. Okay, and then right now price is trading below it. All right, now what's very important, was that previously price has been trading all along based on last quarter above it, okay, above the quarter, first bar of a quarter, okay, above it, all right? Now, this quarter, it sort of flip, okay? So the first bar of the quarter low is about the same as the first bar of the quarter high, okay? So therefore, in this case here, it seems to suggest that price is moving lower, right? With buyers that it might be bearish, because then if there is a weak close below the first bar of the quarter, then it's going to affect perhaps, right, the buyers of this movement, which in this case here, it looks to be more bearish than bullish here. All right. So therefore, how are we going to use this as an input? Then we will have to go into our daily chart, right? And daily chart will give us some levels, okay, which obviously you can see very clearly that these are levels, okay. For example, previous high and the previous low, and right now it is doing this retracement, okay. So with this, with the analysis in the next lower time frame, we are able to come up with like a zone, okay, a zone for us to consider. For example, that price had already closed below it and might be hovering here, where the first bar of the quarter is going to provide a very good basis, okay, without questioning. Because sometimes that when you join support resistance, right, you're going to ask yourself whether it's the correct one. But with first bar of the quarter, everybody's saying the same thing, and it's not difficult to identify the low and the high of that first bar of the quarter, okay, first weekly bar. All right, so in this case here, it becomes very easy way for us to judge the direction. We are looking for a sell, and then we are potentially looking for a retracement back up, right, into where? Into this zone here. Okay, so that's the zone, all right? So this is the zone that we are looking at. Okay, so I'm just going to expand it so that we can see a little bit clearer. Then, is there any signal to sell it? Obviously, there isn't, because we don't see any bullish close, so we don't see any green wash line. So perhaps that it's just going to retrace a little bit. Now, along this retracement, would there be a counter signal to long? Yes, definitely. All right, because let me just show it to you. For example, if you have the if you have, let's say, the H4, and then you're going to see the day wash here, right? So the day wash already shown bullish signal, okay, bullish signal to go long for this one. Now, can you take this bullish signal? Yes, you can, but you know that you are pretty much against the overall flow, and then perhaps that if it goes up, all right, you can quickly, and you have to quickly take your profit, because then people are looking for a chance to short it down already in line with the overall down movement. Okay, so that's a way to use the quarterly box to help us to do the analysis easily and clearly. Okay, so let's take a look at another trade, okay, that I'm also looking, which is also the family of Pound Aussie, and then, yes, you guessed it correctly, and that's Pound Kiwi. Okay, so this is Pound Kiwi here. So let's let me just do a bit of analysis. Same thing. Now, last quarter we had this quarter high, so you can see price can just hover above it a little bit. Okay, but then that's really fine, because we know that this is still a resistance with no significant close above the first bar, first week of the quarter. All right, so this one here, this place would be the first week of the quarter bar of the quarter low. Okay, so there was quite a good close, all right, a very nice close below it, and price has been hovering. Okay, now coming inside here, all right, coming into the new week. Okay, so this is the new week here, new quarter, new week. All right, then this will be the first bar of the quarter, first weekly bar of the quarter, and then this would be the first weekly bar. All right, the low. Okay, we are not really very precise in a way, because we use it as a gauge, right? But if we see a very nice close above, let's say, the opening bar of the week, then we're going to turn into bullish. But then if we're going to see price continuing to still hover near to the bottom and ultimately to close below the opening bar of the low, opening bar low of the week, then we're going to have a bearish bias. Okay, so it might just hover here for a while, all right. But in any case, the fact that last quarter, all right, price ended up bearish, I'm just going to assume as long as it doesn't close above it, it's going to resume that it's bearish movement here. Okay. Now then, let's take a look into the day. So this is where we have the day chart. Right, it becomes a little bit obvious because why? You know, there was a huge down and it seems to be like a retracement here. Okay, now what's happening? It's for us to choose very carefully, and just sometimes just price just doesn't move very nicely up or down. Okay, it's like to have these very long tails and then it's really frustrating. All right, but then the next thing is that if you don't catch it and it's just gonna go very nice move, all right, and then you can't catch it anymore. Okay, so what's happening here was that in the day we had a sell signal. All right, so there was a close above it and it came back down, right? So there was this wash and rinse, and price has been retracing, all right, to the resistance with the weak wash here. Okay, now so let me just go into the H4. Okay, just before that, right, I'm just going to mark this weak wash here. All right, this green line here with this yellow highlight. Okay, now going into the H4 chart. All right, now there was a sell signal. Okay, because you can see that there was a close above the previous high. So in fact, that around this place here, let me just mark this. Okay, now in fact, that around this place here was a green line. Okay, so this was a green line here. Okay, so this was a green line. All right, so there was a sell here. Okay, now this sell, it didn't move down immediately. In fact, it hover here. Now until the point where you know, it resulted in a MAC line. Okay, so this is the MAC line here, the most recent one, and you would have you know, receive a signal to go long. All right, when price closed above the MAC line. Okay, was this long successful? Unfortunately, it didn't move up a lot. Okay, so for example, if you have long here, it's moved up by probably about 39 pips. Okay, but if you just flip it into, let's say, the day chart, you would know that you are probably just going long near to a weak level. Okay, so there was a retracement and just going near to a weak level here. All right, now, so what's happening is that it's actually coming in down again, but there isn't any short signal. Okay, so there isn't any sell signal yet, but you know that, okay, price is into a horizontal resistance here. All right, and then if it's coming down, it hasn't had that sell signal because there isn't any bullish wash here. All right, but if we can just analyze that from the bigger picture, right, it's quite obvious to say that it is being resisted here, but probably pound kiwi isn't nice to trade because of the very long bar. Okay, long tail, in fact, no, very long tail. All right, but with this two example, this is one to bring out that importance of the first bar of the quarter. Okay, first bar of the quarter. Now, if you take a look at what's happening here, right, price of pound kiwi is still within the first bar of the quarter. Okay, whereas for pound Aussie, right, price of the current bar, it's below the first week of the quarter. Okay, so currently on Thursday, all right, seems that pound Aussie has already established that bearishness. Okay, but pound kiwi is still trapped. So the question would be using a very simple method, which is the quarterly box and the first week of the quarterly box. Then which one would you choose? Okay, I think the answer is a little bit clearer. All right, I would choose to go short with the pound Aussie, and I just probably wait for a good time to wait for that signal.